Hi, I'm Merri Pattinian. My history is I was a graphic designer for over 20 years, both in New York and in San Diego, California. I worked with many different advertising agencies and ultimately wound up having my own design firm. As a graphic designer, what intrigues me is just the elements of design. So I will go through different phases. At one point, I will be doing pieces that have a very kind of Renaissance feel to pieces like this that again are much more contemporary and are just based on more elements of design and different textures. I really love texture, and that's what I spend most of my time doing, is developing and inventing new techniques to make new and exciting textures. I also recycle everything. I have these little drawers that I throw all of my little junk in. Just little elements, you know, I work with roofing shingles. These are actually, I use a lot of sponges, and when they get too hard to use, I cut them out, and then I use these elements. I'll rip them apart and put them down, and by the time I'm done with them, they look almost like they're rocks. And then I wind up ultimately having these little pieces of art that I sell and that people will then frame. And these are all based on just recycling. These are rusty old bottle caps that I use. They're very green art because they have been recycled from various things. These are actually elements that I pour a liquid polyurethane and dye into, and then I can actually pull them out and reuse them again with the rusty old bottle cap. My little box of toys, this is where I come to and I kind of play with things. I have little elements that I make that eventually I will use, and I sometimes actually spend just hours moving things around. Like there's a little grid element, and you can see I've had 3 different elements on this. They've been on, I've ripped them off, I glued them on, I ripped them off. So I'm waiting now to make new elements for that. Some of the work that I do is very organized, and I have templates for it, and it's very structured, and I've sat down and I've designed the piece, and so I can use the templates over and over again to create new pieces, which I'll then do in different colors and different design, you know, different textures, but using the same basic elements. This is a piece that I've finished a while ago, but you can see the metal has been all popped out, and then I can glaze the backs to really make it old and antique. I really like to do a lot of things. Actually, several of my pieces that I call ancient relics, because they do have that feeling like they were unearthed, they were buried, and now somebody's come across them and found them, and they look just old. And that's what I try to do, and that's what those metals will ultimately wind up being. They will have a little bit different finish because of what he chose, but nonetheless, in the end, they'll kind of wind up looking something like this. I work because I love to do the work. What inspires me is everything. Nature, textures, patterns, designs. Those are basically the things that I'm more interested in rather than particular subjects, although I do some leaf pieces and some palm pieces and some pieces that do have some images in, because I find certain people do like an image to relate to. I guess in wrapping it up, all I can say to you is I've done art my entire life. I've done it for a living forever. There's nothing else that I would want to do. Being an artist is the greatest thing in the world. You get to come in here and I get to play every day and do whatever I want to, you know. I've worked in a manner that lets me fulfill that childhood dream of having a studio where in each corner I could do something different, because I come in every day and One day I'm working on metals, the next day I might be painting, the third day I might be doing textures. I can just kind of pick and choose, what do I feel like doing today, and work on that. And thank you for visiting. Hope to see you soon.